Hello and welcome to my channel Hammond's Hobbies. My name's Glenn and today I'm going to be discussing why I think F1 is in the best place the sport has ever been since I've been watching it, which has been quite a few years now. So let's get right into today's topic. So before we get into today's video, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has been smashing up the like buttons, to everyone that's also been subscribing. If you're new to this channel, please join the Hammond's Hobbies family. And I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's been messaging me, asking me. Obviously, I had COVID the last couple of videos. My voice pretty much left. It went out the door. So I haven't done a few videos for the last few days. It's been a bit of a weird time since I last uploaded a video. I've been called out on a few things in the sales posts on ways that I do my selling. I won't go too much into it and I don't want to mention any names and otherwise it's tit for tat. But yeah, a few things that I've learned, I suppose. Definitely some things that I've learned for the way that I'll be conducting business going forward. But anyway, from that, Taylor Hawkins dying. I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan. They're the only concert I've ever been to is a live Foo Fighters concert because I wanted to see them before they split. I just had an inkling that they might split up or something. So obviously I went to see him, but obviously all of my thoughts and that go out to Taylor Hawkins and his family. So yeah, it's been a bit of a weird time, but something that has been really positive, and that is F1. Formula One. It started off obviously last weekend in Bahrain. The racing was unreal. Like, I've been watching F1 since I can remember. In that time, I've watched Michael Schumacher dominate, like absolutely dominate, race in, race out. And I used to be a McLaren fan, so I supported Mika Hakkinen, David Coulthard. And then obviously after that, we then sort of went into sort of Lewis Hamilton came in obviously as a rookie with Fernando Alonso, but also Vettel dominated for 4 or 5 years. You know, I know he only won 4 world titles, which is, I say only, it's massive. But he really dominated for quite a long time. And obviously in the hybrid era, Lewis has dominated. So it's always been, there have been obviously awesome races along those way. And I've been massively grateful that obviously I've been a Lewis Hamilton fan during that whole process. You know, it's great to see a British driver, a guy, an underdog, first coloured person to win races. You know, he was one of the youngest. He could have been the first rookie to win a world championship. You know, loads and loads going for him. So I've absolutely enjoyed that journey. I feel like it's coming to an end now. I feel like Lewis is... I still think he's going to challenge for race wins this year, but I think the world championship, the 8th world title, is going to elude him this year. Maybe he'll stay on next year, like another year and battle, who knows. But now the last 2 races, obviously we've had these new shaped cars come in, and these new shaped cars they look stunning. And my biggest fear was, although they look good, are they going to... The main thing we want to see is racing. We want to see close racing, tense racing. We don't want it to be whoever starts pole finishes first and whoever started second finished second. We don't want that. We want close racing. We want the person who's willing to risk it all and come out on top and all that. That's what we want. The first race, Bahrain, obviously it was Max and Charles. I can't remember how many times they swapped positions. I'm gonna say six times. For starters, I haven't seen that. I've never seen that in F1. It has happened, like place changing, the race lead changing because of pit stops, because of safety cars. Maybe one overtake, maybe even two overtakes within the course of a whole race, like one at the start and then someone has something happen, then you have to... But six like times where they swapped positions just because the cars were so able to follow each other so closely. Now I thought, okay, let's just calm down. A lot of the drivers came out in Bahrain and they were all asked, do you think you can race closer to each other now? And they said it's too hard to tell. We had this DRS and that really helped us and blah blah blah, and there was only really Charles and Max. There was quite a few overtakes going across the field, but I'm saying in general that was the main talking point. But now I've just sat and watched the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, and my God, that was intense. 50 laps, and on lap 50, I still didn't know who was going to win. Now, normally when you watch an F1 race, I've heard this for years. It's only worth watching Formula 1 for the first 4 laps and then 4 laps towards the end. The rest of it's boring. I literally didn't know who was going to be winning that race. It started off Sergio Perez, then it went to Charles Leclerc, then it was Max Verstappen, and then right at the end, I mean, if there wasn't like yellow flags dotted about everywhere, I think Charles Leclerc could have had him, again. Carlos Sainz has said that once he's figured out the issues that he's got, he'll be right up there as well, and I sort of believe him. I don't feel he's as aggressive as Max and Charles, but them two definitely deserve to be up there. George Russell has done really well in the Mercedes. Obviously, it's his first year. As of right now, I think he's 4th in the title championship standing, so he's beating Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton started 15th, I believe, and worked his way up to 6th. And if he didn't get unlucky with the safety car, the virtual safety car, there was 2 cars that broke down, and both of them were blocking the pit lane, so he couldn't pit for tyres, which means he would have been able to basically gain a free pit stop. So he literally would have been on fresh tyres, and I think he would have come out 6th. So therefore he would have been chasing down George Russell towards the end of the race. But that didn't happen. He had to go round, and by the time he pitted, everyone else had done a few pits, so then he came out, and I think he was 11th or 12th, and then he worked his way back up to 10th. So although that was I actually had more entertainment watching it was Max and Charles were the main talking point, and then Lewis was the next, because he just done quite a lot of overtaking. So where am I going with all this? That's my little mini review of the last 2 races. But what that says to me going forward is that now when cars overtake each other, they have the knowledge and the confidence to be able to attempt to retake the place, maybe even 2 corners later. So that means you're going to have a lot of to-ing and fro-ing between the race lead. And obviously, if they end up crashing, that's a massive talking point, who did what, and that's exciting. We like to see that. I know that sounds very selfish, you don't want people to have crashes, but that's unfortunately, it's like, that's just human nature. We want to see big crashes. Obviously, we want everyone to be safe, but that's going to happen. If not, you're just going to get on-track action where they're overtaking each other. Brilliant, hands down. Like, awesome racing. It's probably the best I've ever seen Formula 1 being. Now, that's actually the cars and the actual overtaking. Secondly, I'd like to point out that you've got a really good variety of drivers. Sergio Perez put it on pole position today, which no one saw, or yesterday, sorry, which no one saw. And if he didn't get bad luck with the way that it all panned out with safety cars and everything and the pit stops, he had a very, very good chance of winning that race. So then you would have had Sergio Perez win, like Charles Leclerc come second or third, and obviously Max. So then I would say you're having a nice variety of different drivers performing really well. On top of that, you've got George and Lewis coming back into the fray. I would imagine 5 or 6 races into it. So I reckon another 2 or 3 races. That means we'll be about a quarter into the season or less than quarter, because there's 24 races. Before, there was only like 18, 19, 20. I remember when 20 hit, and that was a big talking point. So now you've got 24 races, I believe, this year. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity to play catch up later on in the season. So we could see Mercedes coming back at it later. So then you'd have 6 potential drivers week in, week out with the ability to win a race. That's going to be very exciting as well. It's also very good for the collectible card market, because obviously the more variety of people you have winning, the more the cards are going to fluctuate in price. There's going to be an opportunity for arbitrage there, like if you buy a card for so much and then sell it on another platform or another country for a higher price. If you're into that sort of thing. I'm not so much into that. When I buy cards, I have the intention of keeping it, if not just selling the dupes or the excess. But if you're into investing, this could be a really good opportunity. You might buy like Sergio Perez signed autograph card like in November, which obviously was the quiet period of collecting cards in F1 and that. And now obviously he's racing for wins and he qualified first. So yeah, his card value is going to shoot up, you would imagine, towards the later part of this year. Also, the same with Max. He could be fighting for a second world title already at such a young age. Or you could have a Ferrari winning a world championship. And you could even see Lewis coming back and fighting for a world title. Seems unlikely at the moment, but you just never know. So that's the cars, the drivers. But in terms of the overall sentiment of Formula 1 as well, seems very, very high. Martin Brundle was saying in commentary in last week's race that every single venue is almost sold out of their tickets throughout the whole year. So not only have they really ramped up how many races we can actually have within a year, they've also sort of maxed out the amount of people they could have attend those venues. So that shows that there's so much interest, and because there's so much interest, now advertisers are coming in and they're like, right, we need to get our name on these cars, which means obviously more money's going to the teams. Obviously that can help them out with development and performance and staff and all that sort of stuff. So that's a really good place to be, a really good business to be into at the moment. And on top of that, Formula 1 is entering, it's been there or thereabouts in America, but it just seems like it's fallen on deaf ears. It's like the only people that went to the American Grand Prix in Texas were the ones that were really into Formula 1 for years and years anyway, and it's been like this very niche sport that you can watch from America. Well, now we've got already 2 races in America this year, and they're talking about next year potentially a Vegas Grand Prix. So if we have that, we might have 3 Grand Prix in America, which obviously is huge. It's it's going to really cement itself as the best motorsport event of the year, and obviously that's going to drive more Americans to be fans of particular teams or drivers. And I've started to see in the Facebook groups a lot more Americans commenting on videos, and there's, you can normally tell they're Americans, and that, they're asking questions like, hey, what happens if Lewis goes all the way to the end of the race without even pitting? Is there a penalty for that? And and that's because they've never seen the sport before, and they don't know necessarily all the rules, which you wouldn't. No one's going to sit there and read a massive long rule list before they start watching sport. You're just going to sit down, watch, and until things happen, like say if Lewis went all the way to lap 49, the commentators would have to say, "Oh, he's done 49 laps," but he's going to have to pit because he, by law or in the regulations, he has to pit. So until that happens, the person watching how would they know the rules? I know it because I've watched it for many years and I've seen drivers attempt to take advantage of that situation. So it's a great place to be in. It opens the door to almost like a quarter of a billion people, and obviously as Formula One becomes more and more popular, bringing it back to collectible cards, that's why you're probably watching this video, I believe that it's only going to increase the value of, one, the Chrome 2020 sets, but two, the actual new sets and the current sets that are coming out already. And we're seeing this now. So if I show my screen, obviously here's some of the main talking points of today. So we've got Max Verstappen fights Leclerc to win Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, Hamilton in P10. Is there even any points for that? So Lewis has never really finished in position 10, so he's like, do we get points for this? And they were like, yeah, you get 1 point. So, you know, that was quite a funny little comment. You got Charles and Max giving each other a massive respect at the end of the race, or even over the radio saying, oh, that was a really good race, I love battling with him, sort of thing. So that's really, really good, because that's going to just make the sport healthier over a long period. And then obviously in terms of cards, we are seeing the current set Topps Chrome 2020. Now this came out before the season started, and these came out on the Topps website for £400 a box, or for the light version 100 and I'm gonna say 60 to 80, I can't remember the exact figure, but let's say 170 actually, because that's smack bang in the middle. And now we're seeing the light boxes going for just under £400. So it's like, it's 1.5 times what it was when they came out only 2 weeks ago. And whereas the actual hobby boxes, which contain the autographs, they are now demanding about £1,000 per box, which means that for a case of 12 of them, you're looking to pay about 12 to 13k. There typically is a premium for sealed cases, because when you're buying just loose boxes, you don't know what's happened to them. So, for example, if I open a case and the first 4 boxes I open all contain an autograph card. Now, the statistics of you getting a autograph card are 4 in a sealed case. So if you've pulled 4 already, the chances are the other 8 boxes are not going to contain autographs. So essentially at that point you have chrome light boxes in the disguise of the autograph boxes. But so you would imagine that those people would put those on eBay and try and sell it, unless you're like me and you just can't resist it and you just open everything. So yeah, you don't know that someone's done that. Whereas a sealed case, you know, okay, I'm going to buy that case and there's going to be at least 3 to 4 autograph cards that I'm going to pull out of those boxes. So the cases seem to demand a little bit more money than what the actual value of a single box on its own would be. A lot of people are going to get confused by this. So if you look at, say, this example here, it's £1,000 for a sealed box of Chrome 2021. But for a sealed case, someone's asking for £16,000. Now that obviously doesn't make sense. You'd think, well, hang on a minute, surely that case should be valued, because there's 12 boxes in there. That case should be valued at £12,000. But no, there's actually a premium for it being a sealed case. So that's, I would say, healthy in terms of the overall interest in the market. But it's probably unhealthy, the fact that obviously lower end collectors would struggle to ever own or open a box of that value. Same with me. I wouldn't, if I had a hobby box right now and I got it for free, I probably still wouldn't open it, because then you've got to look at it as, well, if I just sell it, I'd get £1,000. So you'd almost in your head think, I've got £1,000 here. So you would just put it on eBay, or you would try and sell it for that. Even if you have to take an offer, it's still crazy money. So that's where we're at with the boxes, the cases, obviously the sport itself. Now, looking at some of the retro stuff, so this is before Topps had the license. There was a set called Futura, and this is something I was going to do a separate video on, but I'm going to mention it in today's video instead. There was a Lewis Hamilton rookie card that he has from when he was in F2, and this is considered his true rookie card, like the first Lewis Hamilton collectible card to come out. Now, there's actually a reason why I believe that that's not true, but we'll get onto that in another video. But for now, we're going to assume that this is his true first card that ever got released. It's been graded a PSA 9, you can see here. And it went for $312,000 with buyer's premium. So just under £250,000 British pounds, which is humongous for a non-licensed product. It's a beautiful looking card. I would love to own one of those, but never mind. Now, because this went for so much, I believe that we're going to see a lot of these come out of the woodwork. We're going to see a lot of people that potentially have this card or have several of this card, and they're going to all of a sudden send it to PSA and then attempt to get graded and put on either eBay or Goldin to achieve a similar type of figure. Now, that's true because already, so now this is a completely different auction. This is a PSA 8, and this one's currently at $14,000, and it has 13 days remaining, so about 2 weeks. So yeah, this is going to be another huge card. I personally wouldn't pay obviously these sort of levels. Even if I had the money, I still couldn't justify it in my head. But this is a really rare card, and there's not too many of them about. We may see 8 to 15 of them pop out of the woodwork. I've already spoken to a guy that has managed to get hold of one of these, and he actually knows of a second one that is available, and the guy wants for it 25 grand. Now, obviously, if you send it off and you get a PSA 9, you're looking, now you've got £250,000. So it's almost like a lottery win if you can get hold of one of those. So yeah, this just shows though to me that there's a lot of money that's being pumped into F1, not just as a collectible hobby, but actually as an investment vehicle. So people are now looking at this and saying, right, I believe that card is a £500,000 card, maybe £1 million card in the future. So if I can buy it for $250,000, that's a steal. Now, it'd be interesting to see what the PSA 8 goes for in the end, and we can compare the two. Maybe that'll be another video in the future. But that means that we have big money coming into F1 collectible cards. We have a lot of money, so even the lower end people, because every time Topps release something F1 related, even if it's just like Turbo Attack boxes, but it contains a fire card, they're selling out instantly. So like, there's no waiting around. It's literally like sold out within seconds. You're lucky if you can get anything from there. Now that says to me that there's such huge pent up demand there. So every time Topps release a set now, everyone's going to be really eager to open it up. It seems like Flagship's coming back a bit. I think now that Chrome is being priced out for some people, people are looking and saying, I actually want to open some product. So now they're looking at Flagship. That's my personal view on it. A lot of people have inquired with me, myself, about have I got any Flagship boxes and have we got any blaster boxes, which I was just about to get some from America. Let me type in here, Flagship blaster boxes. Let's see how much these are going for at the moment. It seems there are none in the UK. I've actually messaged a few people about this set, or the the blaster boxes, sorry, and it seems like no one's got any, so that's very odd. So yeah, that I think the demand for flagship is actually going to go up, oddly enough, and I think this is all built up in a perfect storm. Obviously, Topps were releasing a lot of sets really quickly. We had the Lights Out, then we had Chrome, flagship, then we had Chrome. So it's quite a lot of sets very, very quick off the bat. And I don't know what they've got lined up for the rest of this year. Are they going to release a Sapphire set? I don't know. It's not on any of their website, and I've not heard anything working with Topps. So that says to me that potentially not. But then everyone has shown me these images of Topps accidentally releasing the images for Sapphire F1 2021. So we may get Sapphire in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Don't hold that to me, but I believe 24th of April is looking like a roundish, around that sort of time frame. We might be getting Sapphire Edition, which I believe you can't purchase through Topps Direct, as you can't just buy like one whole case at a time. It is literally, you have to buy it through the website. So we may see a lot more stock available on the website. But if Chrome 2021 was listed up at £450 on the Topps website itself, what's a box of Sapphire going to start at? You would imagine it's going to be worth £450, £500 at least, because it's a more premium product. So this is going to price a lot of people out, and I think this is what flagship and the paper stock versions are all about for some people. People can get the images that they want. You can get the feel of a really big hit, like I've been watching the Lewis Hamilton variation image. One of the guys that I dropped 3 boxes of Hobby Chrome 2021 off to him, and in one of them he got a Lewis variation, which he paid like $2,000 for the boxes. And I think that's worth $2,500. So he's made his money back. Now, will this happen next year and the year after? That I don't know. I think there's been a lot of hype for Chrome this year because of last year's Chrome being so successful. So once people start seeing like, oh, this hasn't gone up as much or as fast, although it has gone up a lot and quite fairly quickly, relatively, there may be a tapering off at some point. But at the moment, I would say Formula One is in a really good place. I actually think the collectible card market is in a really good place. We're seeing the price of the boxes double within the space of 2 weeks. Obviously, you've got the hobby boxes, like I say, for Chrome going for about £1,000, whereas they only came out at £400 literally like 2 to 3 weeks ago. And then, like I say, we've got the light boxes now achieving sort of £350 to £380 a box. Now, that was £160 to £70 box. I can't remember off the top of my head. So you're talking about like almost a 2.5, 3x within 2 weeks, which is, you'd have to invest in Bitcoin to get those sort of returns. So the fact that you can do it with just, buying F1 cards, that's insane to me. The next set that I know that is definitely coming out is the F1 Dynasty set for 2021. I've actually got 2 cases on the way, and I've had many inquiries about them. A lot of people saying, oh yeah, I'll have one of them when they arrive, but no one's actually committed to buying one yet. So looking at the market, I think I'm literally the cheapest person on the internet for those F1 Dynasties, so I may have to look at that and actually up the price, just to, even if I undercut the big boys like Blowout.com and Still Collectibles, they seem to be listing it for $2,500, and I was listing mine for $1,900. So like I'm listing it £500 to £600 cheaper than what they are. So yeah, I may have to revise that and look at it and up the price of it so I'm in line with them, but I still want to be cheaper, because I understand people, like it's a big purchase off a small one-time seller on eBay. So so that's it really. I've rambled on long enough. I hope you've enjoyed that conversation. If you do, get involved. Comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about F1 in its current state? I'd love to hear that feedback. And also, what do you think about the card market, the F1 Tops card market in this current climate? Are we going to see a massive sell-off towards the end of this year, or are we just going to see the demand for Ferrari just overclipsing everything else? It'd be really interesting to see. Obviously, Charles Leclerc cards are going through the roof. Carlos Sainz cards, the interest has always been there, but it is peaked, like it's gone up a bit, but nowhere near as much as Charles Leclerc. You know, some of these cards have gone up crazy. So I think F1 cards is in a really good place. I think the sport is in a really good place. So if you're new to this space, you've joined at a great time, my friend, and obviously you're watching the #1 channel about collectible cards for Formula 1, at least on YouTube. So make sure you click subscribe, make sure you smash up the like button. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the Lewis Hamilton rookie card going for just over £250,000 in British pound terms? Will you be bidding on the next one that comes up? Do you think the price of it's going to actually drop? Because I think we're going to see a few of these come out of the woodwork now that there's £250,000 involved. So yeah, loads of talking points there. Comment down below. If not, send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'd love to hear your feedback. I always love having a conversation about F1. Like I say, growing up, I very rarely had any friends that were into Formula 1. Most British children are into football, and they have no time or patience for F1. So I've actually found it very difficult to find someone to talk to. So me doing these videos, venting everything that I'm thinking to you guys, that's like my little F1 therapy session. So I appreciate if you've watched this video right to the end. Make sure you smash up the like button, make sure you subscribe if you're new, and I shall see you on the next video from myself. Bye guys.